Now, here is a video which has gone viral showing circumstances in which a customs officer fired a shot which led to the death of a man along Shagamu-Ijebu-Ode interchange in Ogun State. Well, the Nigerian Customs Service has confirmed the death of the man, but say they have contacted the family and they regret the incident caused by an accidental discharge. In a statement by Joseph Apathy, Public Relations Officer to the Controller General of Customs, quote, "This incident was a result of an attempt to obstruct unlawful performance of duty by passengers of a white Toyota Hiace suspected to be carrying bales of used clothing," end of quote. The statement from the Nigeria Customs Service further explained that it was in an attempt to disarm the customs officer that the rifle discharged and hit one Godwin, who is a friend of the customs officer, and that the service is in touch with the bereaved family. The statement adds that Godwin is a good citizen who always comes to get water for customs patrolmen anytime they return to their base. We also bring you this sad news from Benue State, where police today confirmed that one Boniface Okloho, 35 years old and chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Ohimini local government area, has been killed. According to police report, he was shot in the stomach along Ijamin Road in Otupo by gunmen while he was returning from a political meeting. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Omololu Bishi, has ordered an immediate investigation into the incident, warning politicians and their supporters against violence during this time of the electioneering period. Well, for more about preparations ahead of the rescheduled elections, joining us on the news at 10 is Channels Television's data analyst, Babajide Ogunsowo. Good to have you on the news at 10.
No, listen, for me, it's always great to be here.
All right. Now, I mean, looking at the way things have played out since Saturday, can we accurately determine what the rescheduling of elections will cost all the stakeholders now?
No, it's going to be extremely difficult to accurately discuss on what this cost will be. Yes, we can estimate it, but I'd like to start from a slightly different perspective, and that's because over 4 decades ago, popular Afrobeat musician Fela Kuti released a hit single in 1975. It was called Confusion. Now, I'm not going to attempt to sing it to you, but he said, "Confusion na waiting." Confusion na wa. And so yesterday, Nawa were the words on the lips of most Nigerians. Nawa. Well, I have a slightly different take on the elections. I think elections held yesterday, let me make myself very clear. The elections occurred between violence and peace. And so today, if you look at the results of the election that held yesterday between violence and peace, you will find out that peace won. And so, though we might have over 20 million unemployed Nigerians looking for a job, each of these men and women have a PhD in patience. Though we might have millions of farmers in the rural areas, people say they are illiterate and uneducated. These millions of farmers are master degree holders in calmness. And so, elections held yesterday and they were won by peace. Now, here's why I'm confident about what will happen this Saturday, and why I'm not really bothered about who will win. Because this Saturday, the elections will be between peace and more peace. So don't be bothered about this Saturday. We should be concerned more about our hopes than our fears. Now, let's talk about the cost. There are 3 areas that we can really focus on. The first is, let's look at the cost of confidence. And by cost of confidence, we can measure that by voter apathy. Will voters still come out on Saturday? Now, if we look at the trends, especially from 2007, we see that the number of eligible Nigerians who are participating in elections has been declining. 2015, only 1 out of 3 eligible Nigerians voted. Now, that should be a cause of concern for the legitimacy of our democracy. We need to consider that, especially if you look at what the transportation cost will be next week Saturday, in fact, next week Friday. And the research we have, especially if you're coming from Abuja down to Lagos and you're going by any of the popular transport operators, the average cost of that travel trip from Abuja to Lagos, 8,000 naira. If you're going from Lagos to Kaduna, 8,000 naira. If you're going by road, if you're going from Lagos to Port Harcourt to Aba, 7,000 naira. In other words, your trip to and fro, if you're a low-income earner, could cost you as much as half of your salary. And so my prediction is there might be voter apathy coming this Saturday. So that is looking at the cost of confidence. I think confidence has taken a blow to the chest. Now, the second cost, which we need to talk about, is the cost to international reputation. Listen to this. The National Bureau of Statistics just released the information on how much capital came into the nation last year. They say approximately $17 billion. Now, the trick is only 2 countries accounted for more than half of all capital that came into the nation last year, the UK and the US. And so in simple terms, we should ask ourselves and remember that money does not follow uncertainty. And so if there's a perception of uncertainty in the nation, then that could also affect how much capital comes in. And finally, let's look at the domestic cost. Cost to blue-collar workers especially, because the elections were meant to happen on a Saturday. A lot of salons, markets, transport operators were shut down. And so there were significant costs. But now let's look at what will happen in the next 7 days, because there's still growing uncertainty. So we need to ensure that those top sectors of our economy that really drive this nation, I'm talking about crop production, talking about trade, talking about the telecommunication services, talking about crude oil, talking about real estate, we need to ensure that we build back certainty into all activities this week to ensure that those key activities do not get a hit.
All right, we'll be seeing more of you, during the course of election coverage. I'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Babaji.
And in the final analysis, all voters must come out. We need to have more eligible voters participating in this election.
Well, thank you. Well said. Moving on, families and relatives of bodies burnt in the Enugu General Hospital mortuary fire incident of December the 29th, 2018, have expressed displeasure over the handling of the incident by the state government. Now, they say their patience is running thin. Allegedly, the government had abandoned their loved ones at the state teaching hospital in Awka. Our community report tonight takes a look at the agitations of grieving families.
The pathetic incident that happened in December 2018, where over 60 bodies deposited in the mortuary were burnt beyond recognition in Anambra State. There was sympathy toward the relatives of the deceased, who felt a double dose of pain.
This is the receipt. I deposited my brother's corpse here. The burial is saluted to take place on the 5th. I don't know what to tell my aged mother. I don't know what to tell the children.
Deposited the corpse of my late elder brother's wife about 12 o'clock yesterday. And then in the internet today, I saw that a news that the mortuary got burnt. And we now came around the early hours of this morning, and what I saw here is terrible.
The governor of Anambra State visited the scene and ordered an inquest into the situation.
We're going to find out the cause, because so far nobody has been able to tell me what caused this fire. So we set up a little panel to quickly look at that. But we are going to fix that property there that is burnt. This is a double tragedy for the dead.
However, over 30 days later, it appears very little or nothing has been done. The inaction has spurred this protest by agitated family members. Bearing placards with words of discontent, they are alleging insensitivity on the part of the authorities.
What the government did was just abandon the corpses at the backyard of the mortuary field at the market there, after evacuating it from the Enugu General Hospital. Since months now, we'll be waiting.
So let them do mass burial, as I cannot recognize the body of my mother. Instead of them to dump it in Amako General Hospital field, just like that. It's about to rain now. Cops, the vulture will eat the body of my mother.
They march forward in their resolve. Their grievance is taken to the residence of a member of the House of Assembly as the demand answers.
I know the pains people have because they are supposed to see their loved ones, even though they are dead. I mean, you have to bury them, you have to give them their respect, as it's called. But you see, it has happened. So I'm actually going to also let the government know of their plight. And I'm with you in this period.
Insisting the matter is not being ignored as presumed, the State Commissioner for Health says most of the bodies have been identified and returned to their loved ones.
The government cannot release the body of those ones that are not identified. And that's why we kept them in a place. From time to time, we expose them so that people will go and check whether it's their own. And that's why they said we abandoned. We didn't abandon them, but we bring them out from time to time so that people will come and look and know whether they can see and help us to identify someone. Even as at 3 days ago, we're still able to identify 2 more people.
The government may be on the matter, but the speed of action is what worries the protesters, as burying the bodies of their loved ones is the closure they need to provide the much-needed peace within.
The NNPC has signed a final investment decision with SPDC, Total and Ajib on the Asa North Gas Development Project in a bid to meet Nigeria's quest for gas sufficiency for power. The managing director of Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria says the company will continue to explore other areas of support for the expansion of domestic gas supply and continue to make investments under the right conditions.
The signing of the final investment decision between the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and the Shell Petroleum Distribution Company brings to an end a year-long series of negotiations, culminating in this charter, which cements the commitment of the partners to the successful implementation of the Asa North Gas Development Project.
First seize the opportunity to pay special tribute to NNPC for the very tenacious journey we have been over a year doing all this work.
The project is one of the 7 critical gas development projects of the federal government.
Today is another day for us to sign that SOT that will translate into a mainframe agreement that will guide the government of the Honda Southwest and establishing all the existing litigations and cases among ourselves courts, so that we can now face the business of producing oil and gas.
We will be on top of you, Tony, to do our consultancy to ensure what your country has said, delivery within time and within budget.
Shell Nigeria says they are pursuing a deliberate community content strategy to provide opportunities for local contractors in the project area. This will be in addition to improving the country's chances for gas sufficiency for power.
It's 300 million standard cubic feet of gas a day. That's, if you put that in energy terms, that easily translates to something like 1,200 megawatts of electricity. So it's been long in coming, so we are very pleased that finally we can move forward with this project. Over the next 2 years, we hope to be able to complete this project.
With 300 million standard cubic feet of gas daily at the Asa North Gas Development Project field, the signing of the final investment decision moves Nigeria one step forward in the actualization of steady electricity generation across the country.
The Nigerian ambassador to Ethiopia, Bankole Adeoye, says Nigeria staying in Ethiopia over 14 hours or transiting to other destinations need to be wary of carrying foreign exchange in excess of $3,000 or its equivalent in other currencies. This is because of a long-standing economic policy by the Ethiopian government, which is being reinforced, causing Nigerian travelers to lose hundreds of thousands in forex while passing through the country. Over 25 Nigerians have so far had monies and valuables confiscated because of this policy. Ambassador Adeoye, who was speaking on the sidelines of the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, says The Nigerian government is working to help recover confiscated monies, but wants them to be aware of the risk of carrying forex in excess.